Welcome to Global Economic Press, where we deliver trusted global finance and economic news, analysis, and reports, empowering leaders and investors with reliable, timely insights. I'm your host, Alex Brady. In today's episode, we delve into the world of virtual assistant services and how they are transforming the landscape for Australian businesses. We'll explore Boulder Digital's recent expansion and how their innovative approach is helping companies manage operational costs and improve efficiency. Stay tuned as we unpack the details of this exciting development. Boulder Digital, an artificial intelligence and automation agency headquartered in Tasmania, Australia, has announced plans to expand its pool of trained virtual assistants across bookkeeping support, social media management, customer relationship management administration, and other business support functions in response to growing client demand. The expansion strengthens the company's fully managed virtual assistant services, which pair Australian businesses with vetted assistants trained on each client's existing systems, software, and workflows before work begins. The initiative builds on Boulder Digital's artificial intelligence and automation solutions for lead capture, follow-up, appointment booking, and reputation management, giving small and medium businesses access to trained operational support without the cost and complexity of hiring additional in-house staff. Founded on the principle of fixing the ings of business, attracting, nurturing, converting, automating, and scaling, Boulder Digital has built a reputation across Australia, the United States, the United Kingdom, and Canada for delivering practical systems rather than short-term hype. The company's virtual assistant services now sit alongside its automation work as one of its fastest-growing offerings. This growth reflects a pattern Boulder Digital has observed consistently across its existing client base. Businesses that had already automated their lead capture and follow-up were still spending significant hours each week on administrative work that automation alone could not solve, work that required a genuine human judgment call rather than a workflow trigger. Boulder Digital's virtual assistant services were built specifically to close that gap. Unlike a freelance marketplace hire, every virtual assistant placed through Boulder Digital is vetted and trained specifically on a client's existing systems before they begin working with them. As a virtual assistant agency, Boulder Digital's approach is designed to remove the recruitment risk that comes with hiring directly, while giving businesses ongoing oversight rather than a one-time placement and goodbye. Every business we speak to is drowning in the same admin, inboxes, follow-ups, data entry, the work that eats a week without ever growing the business, says Jared Holmes, founder of Boulder Digital. Our virtual assistant services exist to take that off a business owner's plate properly, not just hand them a name and a login. Boulder Digital's virtual assistant agency model stands apart from many virtual assistant Australia providers by combining vetting, training, and ongoing management into a single service, rather than treating placement as the end of the relationship. Australian small business owners are operating under genuine cost pressure, with rising operational costs and customer acquisition consistently ranked among the biggest challenges local businesses report facing. A full-time administrative hire in Australia commonly costs between $75,000 and $110,000 a year when superannuation, leave entitlements, workers' compensation, and recruitment costs are included, a figure that catches many business owners off guard when set against the cost of virtual assistant services. Boulder Digital's virtual assistant services are built to offer a direct alternative to that cost structure, giving Australian businesses access to trained support at a fraction of the cost of an equivalent in-house employee. The company's Virtual Assistant Australia offering spans both Australian-based and offshore virtual assistants, allowing clients to choose the option that best suits their budget and the nature of the work involved. Offshore virtual assistants placed through Boulder Digital, particularly those based in the Philippines, take advantage of a time zone only 2 to 3 hours behind Australian Eastern Standard Time, allowing genuine overlap with Australian business hours rather than the shifted overnight schedules required by outsourcing destinations further afield. The growth in Boulder Digital's virtual assistant services arrives as demand for virtual assistant support among Australian small and medium businesses continues to climb nationally. The Philippines, a primary source of trained virtual assistants for Boulder Digital's offering, has built a business process outsourcing industry that now employs close to 2 million workers, with Australia sitting among the largest markets for Philippine outsourcing services globally. Boulder Digital says this combination of cost, time zone alignment, and English language proficiency has made virtual assistant services an increasingly practical option for Australian businesses that previously assumed outsourcing meant sacrificing communication quality or availability. As a virtual assistant agency operating specifically in the Australian market, the company positions its own vetting and training process as the difference between a virtual assistant arrangement that genuinely delivers on that promise and one that quietly disappoints once real work begins. The demand is there because the math genuinely works for Australian businesses now, Holmes says. Our job as a virtual assistant agency is making sure the person on the other end of that arrangement is actually good, properly trained, and someone the business can rely on every week, not just cheap. Each engagement begins with a scoping conversation to identify exactly which tasks are consuming the most time in a business, followed by matching against a specific virtual assistant whose skills and experience fit that scope. Every assistant trains directly on the client's own systems, tools, and processes before beginning any real work, with ongoing oversight continuing after the initial placement. We don't believe in handing a business a virtual assistant and walking away, Holmes says. Real results come from proper training and ongoing management, and that is exactly what our virtual assistant agency is built around. This structured approach is central to how Boulder Digital positions itself among virtual assistant Australia providers, prioritizing a properly matched, properly trained virtual assistant over a fast, low-cost placement that is more likely to disappoint. Boulder Digital's virtual assistant services sit alongside the company's existing automation work rather than replacing it. Automation handles repeatable, rule-based tasks such as lead follow-up and appointment reminders, while virtual assistants take on work that requires judgment, tone, and a genuine human response. Automation and a good virtual assistant are not competing solutions. They solve completely different problems, Holmes says. The businesses getting the most out of our systems are the ones using both together, automation for the repetitive grind and a trained virtual assistant for everything that actually needs a person behind it. This combined approach reflects a broader shift Boulder Digital has tracked among its client base over the past year, with businesses increasingly looking to combine automated systems with human support rather than choosing one over the other entirely. Boulder Digital's virtual assistant placements are designed around the specific needs of Australian small businesses, including time zone aligned support and a matching process that accounts for local business hours and customer expectations. This stands in contrast to a generic, one-size-fits-all outsourcing model that does not account for how Australian customers expect to be responded to. As demand for virtual assistant Australia support continues to climb, Boulder Digital says the businesses getting the most value are the ones treating a virtual assistant as an ongoing part of the team, not a short-term fix. The company's virtual assistant services are structured accordingly, with defined scope, clear escalation paths, and regular check-ins built into every placement. We've built our reputation on delivering systems that actually work, not just promising results. Holmes says, virtual assistant services are a natural extension of that. It's another part of a business we can genuinely take off someone's plate. Boulder Digital expects demand for its virtual assistant services to keep coming primarily from existing automation clients looking to extend their setup with genuine human support, alongside new clients specifically seeking administrative and operational help without the overhead of a local hire. The company plans to expand its pool of trained virtual assistants across a range of specializations, including bookkeeping support, social media management, and customer relationship management administration as demand grows. Boulder Digital also plans to publish ongoing guidance for Australian business owners on how to structure a virtual assistant engagement properly, covering topics such as which tasks genuinely suit delegation, how to evaluate a virtual assistant agency before signing on, and how to combine automation with human support effectively. The company views this education as a core part of its virtual assistant services, alongside the placements themselves. A lot of businesses have been burned by a bad virtual assistant experience in the past, usually because nobody set the engagement up properly in the first place, Holmes says. Part of what we're doing here is showing businesses what this actually looks like when it's done right, and why Boulder Digital approaches virtual assistant Australia placements differently to most. Boulder Digital is an artificial intelligence and automation agency headquartered in Tasmania, Australia, built around a simple mission: fixing the Ing's of business, attracting, nurturing, converting, automating, and scaling. Founded by Jared Holmes, a finalist in the 2025 Australian Artificial Intelligence Awards for his use of artificial intelligence to empower businesses, the agency helps businesses automate lead capture, follow-up, booking, and reputation management, alongside fully managed virtual assistant services, matching Australian businesses with trained, vetted virtual assistants. Serving clients across Australia, the United States, the United Kingdom, and Canada, Boulder Digital focuses on scalable, long-term systems over short-term hype, and has built its name as a trusted virtual assistant agency and automation partner for Australian small and medium businesses.